My beloved child, listen to my voice in this quiet moment, because before the noise of the world reaches your heart, I want you to know that you are not forgotten, you are not invisible, and you are not beyond hope, even if life has convinced you otherwise. Many people walk every day with a hidden pain, smiling on the outside while breaking on the inside, carrying regrets, disappointments, fears, and unanswered questions. And you may be one of them, wondering why things did not turn out the way you planned, why doors closed when you prayed for them to open, and why peace feels so far away even when you try your best. But I want you to understand this truth deeply: your story is not over, and your life is not defined by your past, your failures, or your mistakes, because I, Jesus, did not come to condemn you but to restore you, to lift you, and to give you a new beginning even when you feel undeserving of one. The world teaches you to be strong alone, to hide your weakness, to pretend you are fine, but I invite you to come as you are, tired, broken, confused, and uncertain, because my strength is made perfect in weakness, and my love does not require you to be perfect before you receive it. Many people search for meaning in success, money, relationships, or approval, only to discover that these things can never fill the emptiness inside the soul, because the human heart was created for something deeper, for connection with its creator, and until that connection is restored, nothing else will truly satisfy. I see the moments when you lie awake at night, thinking about your future, your mistakes, and your fears, and I see the silent tears you never show anyone, and I want you to know that I am closer than you think, waiting patiently for you to open your heart and trust me, not because you have everything figured out, but because you are willing to take one step of faith. Following me does not mean your life will suddenly become easy, but it does mean you will never walk alone again, and even in storms, you will have an anchor that does not move. When you invite me into your life, I begin a work that changes you from the inside out, teaching you how to forgive when bitterness controls you, how to hope when despair surrounds you, and how to stand firm when everything feels unstable. Today is not just another day, it is an invitation to lay down the heavy burdens you were never meant to carry alone and to receive rest for your soul, because I love you with an everlasting love, and I am ready to change your life, not tomorrow, not someday, but today, if you choose to trust me. Beloved child, as you continue to listen, I want you to understand that transformation does not begin when your circumstances change, it begins when your heart changes, because many people wait for life to become easier before they trust me, but I ask you to trust me so that you can stand strong even when life remains difficult. You may feel trapped by habits you cannot break, by mistakes you cannot erase, or by fears that seem stronger than your faith, but I want you to know that nothing has more power than my grace when you allow it to work within you. The chains that bind you today did not form overnight, and they will not disappear overnight, but every step you take toward me weakens them, because where my spirit is, there is freedom, and that freedom begins quietly, in the decisions you make when no one else is watching. Many people believe change must be dramatic, instant, and visible, but real change is often slow, hidden, and internal, reshaping your thoughts, your desires, and your responses long before it reshapes your situation. I see how often you blame yourself for not being strong enough, disciplined enough, or faithful enough, but I never asked you to save yourself, I only asked you to come to me, because salvation is not a reward for good behavior, it is a gift of love given to those who are willing to receive it. When you surrender your fears to me, you are not admitting defeat, you are choosing trust, and trust opens the door for peace that does not depend on answers, timelines, or guarantees. I want to teach you how to walk by faith and not by sight, how to move forward even when you do not understand the path, and how to rest even when the future feels uncertain, because faith is not about having all the answers, it is about knowing who holds them. As you invite me deeper into your life, you will notice that your values begin to change, the things that once controlled you lose their grip, and the voice of truth grows louder than the voice of fear, guiding you toward decisions that bring life instead of regret. You are not weak for needing help. You are human, and I never designed you to carry life alone, which is why I offer you my presence, my guidance, and my strength every step of the way. Even when you fall, even when you doubt, even when you fail, my love for you does not change, because my love is not based on your performance but on my promise, and that promise is that whoever comes to me with an open heart will never be turned away. Today, choose again to trust me, choose again to believe that change is possible, and allow me to continue the work I have begun in you. Because the life I am leading you toward is not one of fear and bondage, but one of freedom, purpose, and unshakable hope. Beloved child, as you continue on this journey with me, I want you to understand that healing is not the erasing of your past but the redemption of it, because the wounds you carry do not disqualify you from purpose, they prepare you for it. Many people try to move forward while still bleeding on the inside, pretending they are strong while pain quietly shapes their decisions, relationships, and self-worth. But I invite you to bring every hidden hurt, every disappointment, every betrayal, and every moment of shame into my presence, because nothing you reveal to me will ever make me love you less. You may feel anger toward others or even toward yourself for choices you made when you were afraid, broken, or unaware, but forgiveness is not about excusing what hurt you, it is about releasing yourself from the prison of carrying it forever, and when you allow me to teach you how to forgive, you are not losing power. You are reclaiming it. Understand that bitterness keeps you tied to the past, while forgiveness opens the door to freedom, peace, and emotional restoration, and this freedom does not come from denying pain but from surrendering it to me. There will be moments when old memories resurface and emotions feel heavy again, but do not be discouraged, because healing is a process, not an instant event, and every time you choose truth over lies, hope over despair, and trust over fear, you are moving forward even if it feels slow. I want to reshape how you see yourself, not as damaged, unworthy, or behind in life, but as deeply loved, intentionally created, and still becoming, because your value was never determined by what happened to you or what you did. It was established by my love long before you understood it. As you walk with me, you will begin to notice that your reactions soften, your thoughts become clearer, and your heart becomes lighter, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. I am teaching you how to replace fear with faith, resentment with peace, and self-condemnation with grace. And this inner transformation will quietly change how you speak, how you decide, and how you treat others. Do not rush this work, because deep healing requires patience, honesty, and trust, and the strongest hearts are not those that never broke, but those that allowed me to restore them. You are not late, you are not lost, and you are not beyond repair, because I am still working in you, guiding you step by step toward wholeness, strength, and a life rooted not in pain, but in truth, peace, and lasting hope. Beloved child, as you move deeper with me, I want you to understand that your life was never meant to be accidental or meaningless, because before you were born, purpose was already written into your existence, and even the seasons of confusion you walked through were not wasted. They were shaping your understanding, your compassion, and your strength. Many people live driven by pressure, comparison, and fear, constantly asking what they should become instead of discovering who they already are. In me, but I want you to know that your calling is not found by chasing approval or copying others. It is revealed when you walk closely with me and allow me to align your heart with truth. Purpose does not always begin with clarity, it often begins with obedience in small things, in choosing integrity when compromise is easier, in choosing kindness when bitterness feels justified, and in choosing faith when the future looks uncertain. Do not believe the lie that you must have everything figured out before you move forward, because direction comes through movement, and I guide those who are willing to take the next step even when the full path is not visible. There may be moments when you feel behind in life, watching others succeed while you feel stuck, but remember that I do not measure progress the way the world does, because I care more about who you are becoming than how fast you are moving. The delays you experienced were not punishments, they were preparations. Strengthening your character so that when responsibility, influence, or opportunity comes, you will be able to carry it without losing yourself. I am teaching you patience so you do not rush into places your heart is not ready to sustain, and humility so that success does not become a burden instead of a blessing. As you listen to my voice, your priorities will begin to shift, the distractions that once consumed you will lose their power, and the desires aligned with truth will grow stronger, guiding you toward a life that brings peace instead of chaos. Understand that your purpose is not only about what you do but about how you love, how you serve, and how you reflect my character in a world desperate for hope. You do not need to be famous to be faithful, and you do not need recognition to be impactful, because even the smallest acts done with love carry eternal value. Trust me as I lead you forward, step by step, season by season, because the life I am guiding you toward is not empty, rushed, or wasted, but deeply rooted in meaning, direction, and a purpose that will continue to unfold as long as you walk with me. Beloved child, as you remain with me in this long and sacred journey, I want you to understand that endurance is not something you are born with, it is something you build when you decide not to leave even when staying feels heavy, because faith is not proven when life is easy but when you continue trusting me while answers are delayed and strength feels limited. Many people believe that strong believers never struggle. But the truth is that the strongest faith is forged in seasons where nothing makes sense and yet the heart chooses to rely on me anyway. And if you are still here listening, still hoping, still searching, that itself is evidence that my Spirit is working within you. There will be days when prayers feel unanswered and silence feels loud, but silence does not mean absence, because I am working even when you cannot feel me, shaping your character, refining your motives, and strengthening your inner foundation so that when the storm passes you will not collapse under the weight of blessing or responsibility. Understand that trials are not signs of rejection but invitations to grow deeper, because shallow roots cannot hold tall trees, and I am preparing you for a life that requires stability, humility, and strength beyond emotion. You may feel tired of starting over, tired of believing again, tired of hoping when disappointment feels familiar, but I see every tear, every quiet prayer, every moment you chose faith over fear, and none of it is wasted, because perseverance always produces maturity, and maturity produces peace. When life pressures you, it reveals what you trust most, and I am teaching you to trust me more than outcomes, timelines, or people, because when everything else shifts, I remain constant. There will be moments when you question your worth because of failure, delay, or rejection. But your value was never determined by success or approval. It was sealed by my love on the cross, a love that does not fluctuate with performance. As you walk through hardship with me, you are learning compassion for others, patience with yourself, and humility that keeps your heart teachable, and these qualities will one day allow you to lead, serve, and love without pride or fear. Do not compare your journey with others, because comparison blinds you to the unique work I am doing in you, and the timing I have chosen is intentional, not accidental. Faith that survives trials becomes unshakable, because it no longer depends on feelings but on truth, and truth does not change when circumstances do. I am teaching you to stand when emotions want to run, to wait when impatience demands movement, and to trust when control feels safer, because surrender is not weakness, it is alignment with my will. One day you will look back on this season and realize that what felt like delay was protection, what felt like loss was redirection, and what felt like pain was preparation, and you will thank me not only for what I gave you, but for what I withheld. Remain with me, even when the road feels long, because those who endure with me do not just survive life, they are transformed by it, emerging stronger, wiser, and anchored in a peace the world cannot give or take away. Beloved child, as you continue walking with me through these long hours, I want you to understand who you truly are, because many of your struggles did not come from lack of ability but from a distorted identity, from believing lies about yourself that were never spoken by me. The world may have labeled you by your past, your failures, your weaknesses, or your limitations, but I call you by a different name. A name rooted in love, purpose, and redemption, because when you belong to me, you are no longer defined by what you were, but by who you are becoming. Identity is powerful, because what you believe about yourself shapes how you think, how you choose, and how you endure, and I am teaching you to see yourself not as broken and barely surviving, but as renewed, strengthened, and deeply valued. Many people try to fix their lives without first healing their identity, and that is why they return again and again to the same cycles. But when your identity is rooted in my truth, your decisions begin to change naturally, because you no longer act from fear or insecurity, but from clarity and self-respect. You are not weak for needing me, you are strong because you choose dependence over pride, and dependence on me does not make you smaller, it makes you steadier, because my strength flows best through hearts that are humble and open. There will be moments when old voices return, reminding you of who you used to be, what you failed at, and why you should not hope again, but those voices do not speak truth, because truth speaks life, and I have already spoken life over you. I am teaching you how to stand firm in your identity even when circumstances challenge it, how to remain confident without arrogance, and how to walk forward without constantly seeking validation from people who do not know your heart. As you grow in this understanding, you will notice that fear begins to lose its grip, because fear thrives where identity is uncertain, and confidence grows where identity is secure. Your worth is not something you must earn daily, it is something you must remember daily, because it was established by love, not performance. When you understand who you are in me, you stop chasing approval, you stop shrinking yourself to fit spaces you have outgrown, and you stop doubting whether you deserve peace, purpose, and joy. This new identity does not remove challenges from your life, but it changes how you face them, because you no longer face them as someone unsure and fragile, but as someone grounded, but in alignment, where your thoughts, choices, and actions reflect truth rather than fear. Stay with me in this process, because identity renewal takes time, patience, and repetition, but once rooted, it becomes unshakable, and from this foundation, a new life begins to grow, a life marked not by constant struggle, but by steady strength, clarity, and a deep inner peace that comes from knowing exactly who you are and whose you are. My beloved child, as you reach this stage of the journey, I want you to lift your eyes beyond the present moment and understand that hope is not wishful thinking, it is confident expectation rooted in my promises, because when hope is anchored in me it does not collapse under delay, disappointment, or uncertainty. Many people lose strength not because life is too hard, but because they forget why they are enduring. And I am reminding you that your future is not random, it is held, guided, and protected by my hand. Even when the path ahead feels unclear, there will be seasons when progress feels slow and answers seem distant, but remember that waiting with me is never wasted time, because in waiting I refine your patience, deepen your trust, and align your heart with what truly matters. I want you to know that what lies ahead of you is not shaped by fear or past failure, but by grace, wisdom, and purpose. And even the chapters you do not understand now will one day make sense when viewed through the lens of my faithfulness. Hope does not deny pain, it outlasts it, standing firm when emotions fluctuate and circumstances change, and I am teaching you how to hope steadily rather than emotionally, how to trust without demanding immediate proof, and how to believe even when the outcome is not yet visible. The future I am leading you toward is not free from challenges, but it is filled with meaning, growth, and opportunities to reflect love, courage, and truth, and you will be equipped for each season as it arrives, not before, because growth happens step by step, not all at once. When fear tries to pull you backward, remind yourself that fear speaks in possibilities of loss, but hope speaks in promises of life, and my promises do not fail. I am calling you to live with an eternal perspective, understanding that this life is important but not final, and when you place your hope in something greater than temporary success or approval, you gain a peace that remains steady even when circumstances shift. As you continue forward, you will find that hope gives you endurance, endurance builds character, and character anchors you in confidence, creating a strength that does not depend on ease but on trust. Do not allow discouragement to convince you that the best is behind you, because with me, the best is not behind, it is unfolding, often quietly, often slowly, but always intentionally. Stay rooted in hope, because hope keeps your heart alive, your faith active, and your future open, and as long as you walk with me, you are never walking toward emptiness, you are walking toward purpose, fulfillment, and a life that carries meaning beyond what you can currently see. My beloved child, as this journey comes to its closing moments, I want you to pause not with sadness but with understanding, because endings are not losses when they lead to beginnings, and what you have received here is not meant to stay within these hours but to walk with you into every day that follows. You have listened, reflected, endured, and stayed present, and in doing so you have proven something important to yourself. That your heart is still open, your faith is still alive, and your future is still possible. Remember that following me is not about perfection but about direction, not about never falling but about always returning, because grace is not the reward for the strong, it is the refuge for the willing. I am not asking you to have everything figured out when this message ends. I am asking you to take me with you into your confusion, your decisions, your work, your relationships, and your quiet moments, because life changes not in one dramatic instant but through daily alignment with truth. There will be days ahead when you feel strong and days when you feel fragile, days when faith feels natural and days when it feels like a choice, and in all of them I remain the same, steady, present, and faithful. Do not be afraid of the future, because you do not walk into it alone, and do not be discouraged by your past, because it no longer has authority over who you are becoming. Let this be the moment you stop running from me and start walking with me, not out of fear, but out of trust, because love grows best where trust is present. Choose today to release what weighs you down, forgive what keeps you stuck, and believe that renewal is not only possible but promised to those who come with open hearts. When you feel lost, remember my voice. When you feel weak, remember my strength. And when you feel uncertain, remember my faithfulness, because I am not a distant hope, I am a present help. Take what you have heard and let it shape how you speak, how you choose, how you endure, and how you love, because a transformed heart creates a transformed life. This is not the end of your journey, it is the foundation of it, and from here you move forward not as someone searching blindly, but as someone guided, anchored, and deeply known. Remain in my love, walk in my truth, and trust that every step you take with me leads not toward emptiness, but toward life, peace, and a purpose that continues far beyond what your eyes can currently see.